I should have, I guess, recorded from the beginning, but this way it'll be recorded for specifically Instagram tips. But anyway, so first things first, when it comes to hashtags, you definitely want to make sure so utilize your 30 hashtags. You have 30 hashtags to use in every post that you do. You definitely want to take advantage of all 30 hashtags. And you don't want to put them in the comment directly in your post. You want to make it a separate comment. So you'll notice like even like a lot of people will do like the ... and then all the hashtags. I don't know if you've noticed that before. But you definitely want to utilize your 30. And then on top of that, your 30 hashtags that you're using, these are going to be of interest outside of Beachbody. So you never want to hashtag anything Beachbody. You don't want to literally hashtag Beachbody, hashtag 21 Day Fix, hashtag anything related to Beachbody. Because what's going to happen there is when someone clicks on that hashtag, they're just going to find every other Beachbody coach on the planet that's hashtagging Beachbody stuff, and they're not going to come to you. And you also want to have a little bit more of a branding your own self and not so much the company, so that it keeps them curious as to what you're doing, while also being very bold in who you are and what you're doing, if that makes sense. So, so that's definitely the first rule of thumb. Also, obviously, Instagram and really anything social media is so much about lifestyle. So I know Sam and I have had lots of conversations about this lately. Just making so much about, we're branding ourselves, right? So like whatever interest we have from that. So like this is something I'm heavily working on right now. I've definitely not perfected it. But things, where's my this, I'm kind of like working on like a Who is Ashley list of all kinds of stuff. And I have a really great example. I'm so excited to share this. This is like where I just learned like the big, and I've heard this in other trainings that I purchased about Instagram a couple months ago when I was first kind of diving in. Now it's kind of making a lot more sense. So this is the big kahunka. So listen up. So obviously there's like hashtags like, you know, I know Sam, you used to do like a little black dress and things like that, or there's like the mom of 3 or the single mom of 3 or whatever, or you know, breastfeeding mom or whatever. So I'm thinking of things that are obviously in my head right now, but taking it a step further, what Instagram is a lot more like more business geared. And what I mean by that is a lot more people that are just using it for play and fun are going there looking for other brands, other companies, other things like that, other interactive things like that. So like, for example, I might go on there if I was just being a fun user and search for, I don't know, like a baby monitor or something. And in that, you know, I might be posting about that, or finding another company that has that, or finding somebody else that has whatever. Same an example for you, like you're into softball. Okay, well, I know before we talked about like specifically like softball hashtags, but instead of doing it that way, thinking about this, whether it's local companies or bigger name companies or something that would sell like bats and gloves and balls and places that you would go to play softball, like those kind of things, like a lot more specific into the interest that you have. So like another example could be like, I love, obviously, like I'm the fitness girl, like I love fitness. I literally wear 24/7 workout clothes. So I would want to look up local brands or more known brands that are in the area or something of actual workout gear. What I would do then is go to like Lululemon, just as an example. I mean, they're a massive company. So like it's just kind of like a very broad example. But if I went to them, I would then go to their followers. So at the top, you just click on the company or the brand or the whatever follower, and then look at all those people that are following the same interest level that you have. And then you can search just if this would be like, instead of like going to the people you may know on Facebook, this is how you're finding your people. And so when you do that, you can then create a conversation based on an interest level outside of anything Beachbody, so that you just have a common interest in. It's literally just being a friggin' human, like literally just finding random things and topics to talk about. Another example, like, could be craft beer. Like Joe and I, we love craft beer. We love our wine. So I could maybe look up, there's tons of breweries in Charlotte, and we love going to them. And so I could literally look up a brewery, local brewery, or a particular beer or something, and then create conversation with somebody based on that. Like I said, there's all kinds of different baby options that you could have here, like whether it's carrier, strollers, you name it. Like the sky's the limit. Workout gear, like not just clothes, but like your shoes. If you have a particular brand that you absolutely love, like Joe and I do, you can figure that out. There's pastors that I follow on Facebook that I could then go to their pages and go to their followers or something. So does that make sense? Kind of like what I'm getting at as far as like how to get a little bit more specific into the levels and topics of interest to find the people that you might be looking to engage and connect with?
Yeah, I sort of started looking at that like whenever I got my new workout stuff and I got the bright neon green Nikes. Like I hashtag neon Nikes or something like that.
Okay.
So I can go and I can like not only just look through them, but like follow that so that I see the post for those people as well. So
yeah. And that's the big thing to recognize too, not just hashtagging for you, but you have to go find the people, because that's where I've gotten caught. I keep getting caught up with that. Yeah, awesome, Chelsea. Because see, this is the thing. How often, whenever someone follows your account, do you then click on them to see who they are? Right? So don't you want them to, other people to be doing the same thing to you? So the idea here is when you find that person, so hypothetical example, if I wanted to go look at like baby carriers and I found one, I found someone with a similar interest of the baby carrier, I could reach out to them and look at their Instagram, follow them. Now, obviously there's a lot of accounts that might be like blocked, like you'd have to follow before you could see any of their content. Ideally, that's not who you're looking for. You want to find public accounts so that you can see their feed. But immediately like and comment on 3 of their pictures, and then DM them and say like, hey, like I saw you had this awesome carrier I've been looking at. How do you like it? Whatever, like legitimate interest. Like this isn't something that you're just like, just trying to find people just to find people. Like they're gonna, just find things that you're generally interested in, just ask questions and create conversation that way. And what that does is, over time, you're building that conversation and that relationship based on a common interest already, rather than looking like a creeper. And because it's Instagram, it is more of a direct relationship. So, and it's a cold market, so you don't have to sit there and like form forever, but you can then, create from there an opportunity for at some point coaching being a conversation. And again, this is something I haven't even really gotten to that approach, but there are a couple women over my pregnancy journey that I did start connecting with. And so as I'm there was a Dare to Dream coach that rocks at Instagram. And I think, Sam, I think I saw that you were following her too. Megan, I always forget how to pronounce her last name. Magaus, you know who I'm talking about? She has an awesome Instagram. She has almost 10,000 followers. Her Instagram feed is beautiful. Her stories are fantastic. She brands herself very, very well. So I had talked to her today and found out a lot of this information, because she's the person who I had talked about a couple weeks ago, who doesn't even have to invite anymore, because the way she's organically created conversations, people are just asking her about what she does as coaching. And so I'm like, hello, I would love to be able to have that. So any questions at this point, or tips that anybody else has that they'd like to share? Anything at all? While I think about the next thing I had before I ramble. The next thing is on your stories as you're sharing life and all that. For example, like Sammy, you were just talking about your new shoes. You could tag the company in your stories, but you don't always want it like cluttered all over your picture or video. So like clip. So like once you tag it, you can make it so micro small that people can't actually even see that it's been tagged. Do you remember hearing about that at Summit? And then that way it's still tagged, so people will end up seeing that, but it's not like destroying your content necessarily, if that makes
sense. Something that really stood out to me from Summit whenever they were talking about tagging stuff and making it little tiny, was the places. Like, if you think that there might be people that you need to reach that are in Washington, D.C., but you obviously don't live there, then you can tag Washington, D.C. or whatever and just make it real tiny. And then people that live in Washington, D.C. will get to see that post. So.
Yep, exactly. By the way, Chelsea, I just shared her profile with you in IG, so you should see that. Yeah, no, I don't know why I feel really weird about doing that. I don't know why. It's stupid. It's probably stupid, but it's in my head. But I'm trying to think of what other things. This is definitely, like I said, guys, because it is it's extreme importance to have IG as like nailed down. How do you make it tiny? You can literally just like, it's with your fingers. Like if you were to like zoom into a picture and zoom out, it's the same concept. So like whenever you go to hashtag something or do an @ mention, you can just literally shrink it so baby small to where you can't even see it. Trying to think of what else.
The other thing that you can do, and if you're not able to shrink it down small enough, if you do it in white or if you do it in black, if there's a place on your picture or your video that's white and it stays white in that spot, or it's black and it stays black in that spot, you can make it, that color, and then it won't be visible either.
Yeah. Oh, and then also when it comes to your stories, I try to get, some days I'm really great at it and other days I'm terrible at it, so I need to be more consistent. But polls, boomerangs, video, pictures, making sure that your stories have a variety of all those things. It just helps to create more like fun and interaction. And I think there's something with IG that it keeps, because they want you using all those different things, utilizing all those resources, so making sure to have that kind of stuff. And then also, like, keep in mind when you're making stories, try not to do it all just in one lump setting of the day. You want it spread out, even if that means sometimes I'll make a video of like Christian and then like I'll wait for a couple hours to actually post it onto IG, because once someone sees all of your stories, you go to the end of the line again until you have a fresh new story pop up, and then you're back at the front of the line. So if you have that continually throughout the day, and people are, whenever they get bored, every hour of their life, they're going to be going on there, you want them to see you so that you stay there at the top. So just FYI on that.
Also, live stories stay at the beginning for 24 hours. So anything that you do live automatically stays at the very front.
Have you done those, Sam?
I haven't yet. I need to, but I haven't.
I don't know why. I'm really comfortable with Facebook, like ridiculously comfortable. Like it does not bother me at all to go live on Facebook. I'm so nervous with Instagram. I don't know why.
Because it's a cold market. Like it's legit, fully cold market.
Yeah.
She said I did one. It was terrifying.
Who did?
Chelsea said she did one.
Oh. And you also want to make sure you're doing if you're going to do a live video, intentionally keep it at the minimum of like 5 minutes, because you want to give people ample time, even if they hop on halfway through your video. I was 24 hours was over. Oh, Charles. But it's one of those things where you definitely want to have like a topic of conversation where you know that you're going to be talking for a little bit, because you want the idea there is, even though it's instant, people aren't going to get on there instantly all the time, because you don't get notified like you do with Facebook. Mm-mm. Yeah, that just clicked. You don't get notified like you do with Facebook. So people have to be in Instagram to see that you're live. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah.
If it's someone you're following already, and you go live, you get a notification.
I don't think I do.
I do.
Oh.
Well, it may only be.
You do too, Chelsea? Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I don't get notified.
It may be a notification setting thing.
I don't have my notifications on for Facebook Messenger or Instagram because I was not productive with my life, so I had to shut off all my notifications. So literally I have no notifications. I have to go into Facebook or I have to go into Messenger to see that I've got them. So that might be why. But even when I go into Instagram, I still don't see a notification from that. Anyways, whatever. So anyways, you definitely want to keep at least 5 minutes on anything live, whether that be Facebook or Instagram. I would say like 7 to 10 minutes is probably the hot spot. So okay, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. We have about 3 minutes left. I think for the most part that covers some of the bare basics. I had posted, I don't know if anybody actually saw it, but I posted a link about photography in Daring Faith. I'll repost it if y'all need to see that again, on how to take pictures that are captive to the eye that we don't always think about, but it's based on how when you take a picture, if you see it on your phone ever, the squares, or as you're posting into Instagram, the pixel squares that are on the photo. When you want your photos and stuff lined up to that kind of stuff, so that way it's a little bit more captive to the eye, lighting and all that kind of stuff, things that are very simple but that we just don't always think about when we're making posts, especially important in Instagram world, because Instagram is all about photos and all about that kind of stuff. So if y'all need me to, I can always repost that. It's very simple, but it's stuff I never thought about until I actually taught myself that. And it's definitely helped to make it a little bit more captivating and better quality photos that have a little bit more of an attention grabber on Instagram and stick out a little bit better. So anything else, Sam, that you can think of off the top of your head? Or Chelsea, for that matter, if you want to type anything.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now. Other than, if you haven't tried this kale salad stuff, Chelsea, it's amazing. So the stuff that I got when we were at Summit.
Oh. And it's so easy.
Yeah, I know. I literally hopped on, ran and made a salad and ran back. But
oh, Chelsea, I did see a training from Jen Richardson, and I've heard it from actually several entrepreneurs. You actually do want to push your hashtags with your posts pretty much immediately. I don't know why that. I don't remember why the reason would be behind that. But because see, this is what I actually do, and I'm glad you just brought that up. I might run out of time, so if I do, I'll share a little bit more in Daring Faith. Posting your post. You know what? There's a whole list of the step-by-step on how to actually get your engagement to be as high as possible with your post. I'll share it in Daring Faith. It came from a training that I paid for. And it's Sam, the training that you went, that I showed you. You remember what I'm talking about? Okay. I'll post it up. So I'll share some more information, and that way you can see. It might actually help you a lot, Chelsea, especially if you're already seeing that kind of engagement. It might actually increase a whole heck of a lot more too. So, all right, guys. Awesome. I hope this was as valuable for y'all as it was for me. We'll continue to talk a lot more about Instagram. Excited for y'all and hitting your goals. Let's make this month awesome, and time to live in Daring Faith. I love you guys. Peace.
Love you.